Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. In here, we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, hello, hello. It's Ish Ellis. Welcome to our weekly show. My name is Abby, your Healthy Living NP. How are you guys doing? Hope all is well. As you can see from the title, tips for encouraging the men in your life to get their medical checkups. Okay. So please, please, please share the show. Again, before I start, my disclaimer, I am a provider, but I'm not your provider. So please do not make any changes to your regimen without checking with your own provider first. Okay, so let's get into it. Please share the show. Give me a like doing the time up. And, again, like I said, send me stars so I can, if you like what I'm doing, so I can put some money into this so we can do more shows. So let's get right into it there. Let me just get to my banners. Okay, so tips for encouraging the men in your life to get medical checkups. Now, these men could be your father, your brother, your husband, and it's not just women getting the men to go or sisters getting the men to go. It could be brother to brother, male to male, and all that. Okay, so let me just go in here. Okay. So also, I was also asked to speak on George Weah's health because I've been talking a lot about it on social media. How people are saying that everything is changing with him. So, but let me just talk a little bit about that, and then I'll get into the show. Okay. So, my view on George Weah's health. Again, like I said, I'm a provider, but I'm not your provider. I'm not his provider either. So I can't talk specifically on what's going on with his health and all that. I've seen some pictures. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, George Weah, he's president, ex-president, former president of. Let me just put his picture up here so you guys can see it. There he is. Okay, alrighty. So let me go back here and remove that. And 1 second here so I can delete that. Okay, I'm gonna delete that. Delete. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry. So he is the former president of Liberia, and all I know, and people are saying that he looks like he's not doing well or he's not well. I can't speak to his specific. I don't know. I'm not his provider. Again, I'm not his doctor, NP, PA. And all I know about him is he's about 60 years old, or 59, 60 years old. He was a former soccer player, football, if you're not American football, soccer player. He played for like the first half of his life. So he's not going to have the same energy that he did when he was in his prime. All right. He also muscle mass. I'm sure he's not exercising the same way he did when he was in his prime as a prime athlete and all that. He was like the world's best soccer player. Please don't quote me on that. So when he's not moving around like he was, even and that goes with any kind of athlete. If you're any kind of athlete, even in the field that I'm into, I was a nurse before I became an NP and all, and I did a lot of work, a lot of walking around, a lot of standing. So if you're doing any kind of job that requires a lot of standing, a lot of moving around, a lot of have all that stress on your joints over time, it's gonna be, people say you can barely stand up too long. I mean, you're not going to be able to stand up the way you were in your prime. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things like you did when you're in your prime. And he was like, up there athlete. So over time, and he's going to be a 60-year-old man soon. So he's not going to be as active as he was. I don't know what's going on with his health, but what I would do, and if he's getting any kind of medical stuff going on right now, I don't know anything about that. But I will say that I'm sure he's going to his doctors and I'm sure he's getting whatever help that he needs, or maybe something else is going on. I don't know that. But what I can say, and I'm saying I don't know all that, and I can speak to it as a provider because as a licensed provider in America or licensed provider wherever you are, we can't just come on Facebook and just or social media and just run our mouths. We can't just talk freely about somebody's health without getting, we have to know the boundaries and all that. Okay, but he's a public figure. He's a politician. He's an active politician, but he's a former president, and he's also an active, public figure. So we can talk about things that are factual. Again, like I said, he's an athlete. He was very good in his prime. He's not going to have the same amount of energy, and that goes to any kind of athletic, anybody athlete or any kind of job that requires a lot of physical activity over time. Your ability, you're going to be tired more. It's just normal aging too. Okay, so whatever's going on with him, I wish him the best. And you guys are speculating back and forth, that goes to the top. That just puts me right into my topic of, if you have a man in your life that may be going through something similar, or maybe you just want them to go to the doctor, because men don't usually go to the doctors unless they feel like they have to, or when they're sick and all. And I always talk about preventative care, preventative care, preventative care. Okay, so let's get right into the topic. It's not going to be a long show. So let me just get in here and go into banners. I'm going to get to the questions in a few minutes. Okay, so let me just get right into it. So let's see. The men are not babies again, so we try to encourage them in many of our lives. Your brother, your father, your husband, your grandfather, any man that you have influence, not influence over negatively, just somebody who will listen to you when you say stuff. Okay, and tell them, I love you, I care about you, and I want you to be happy, and I need you to go to the doctor to get help. Sometimes you see something that is going on with them. They're losing weight. They're not as active as they used to be. They're not eating that much. They're not going out as much. They're not getting involved in other activities. Sometimes it could be depression going on. Could be other chronic issues that it may be getting worse, or something that they may not want to know. Nobody wants to go to the doctor and find out maybe there's something's going on with them. And sometimes they get scared because men see themselves as, okay, yeah, I'm the provider. Even though if you're in a household that two people are working, I'm the provider, I'm the father, and society see us as this big machismo kind of a person. So then going to the doctor and finding things out, so for some people that signals weakness, which is something that society needs to start working against. Okay, because let's get out of that stereotype. Men need to go to the doctor so they can stay healthy for themselves and their families. Okay, so let's get there and we'll go in there. So let's start from the first one. So how can you do that? How can you get the men in your life to go to the doctor? Okay, first thing first. You guys know this too, all right? So the first thing you can do is to be supportive. Alrighty, so you can tell them, I really care about you. Like, "Hey, I really care about you. I want you to go to the doctors, and I know maybe you thinking that knee's hurting you, and it maybe just, oh yes, I got a little bit of arthritis, like your bones kind of inflamed and all that, a little bit of arthritis. The swelling in your feet, oh maybe because I was just sitting there for a while and I didn't do that, but the swelling in your feet could indicate something going on with your heart. The fact that when you're climbing up the stairs, you're a little bit more short of breath, that could also indicate something going on with your heart. You find yourself sleepy most of the time, or you're not eating that well, or you're just feeling a little sluggish. When's the last time you got your blood work done? We want to check to make sure you don't have diabetes. We want to check your heart to make sure your heart's okay. Make sure what if that medication you're taking for your blood pressure is making you a little bit more tired? They may have to change your blood pressure medicine. Maybe the blood pressure medicine you're taking is not as effective. They may need to increase it, or may need to change it, or maybe you need a full cardiac workup. But all of that, it's not going to happen until you go to the doctor to get checked. Okay, so most of the time your primary care doctor will tell you, once a year. And then when they do your blood work, your initial blood work and everything, then they might, based on that, they might tell you, come back, we'll go over the results. And based on your medical history and all that, you may have to go back maybe every 3 months, maybe every 6 months, maybe just once a year. You may be the one that, okay, yeah, we don't need to see you once a year. And again, going back to when you're in that 40, 50s to 60s group, that's when most of the diseases start manifesting themselves anyway, based on your medical history, your family history, and also you may have to see your doctor maybe a little bit more than once a year. You may also have to follow up with a specialist as well. All right. So just tell them that. Just tell them, I want you to prioritize your health. We're at the place now where we're getting a little older. We're not the young, 20 some year old right now. So go and get your help. And because you want, again, going back to everything I talked about before, sometimes, and early detection is key. Maybe there's something that's brewing there that can be very serious. And the earlier you go to your doctor, the earlier they can find that out. Okay. So the second one is help him get started. Okay. So how do you do that? You can help him schedule an appointment. All right. Help you say, okay, you know what? I'll just schedule the appointment. Maybe you both may have the same doctor, or maybe there's a doctor close to where he is. Let's say if you're talking about your father now, or brother, maybe your adult brother will probably have his own wife or somebody else in his life that's important. Okay, so but you can always bring it up. He may be single too, and you have the same. You share the same DNA, anyways. All right. So schedule an appointment with his permission, of course, because you don't want to go schedule an appointment and he said, "I'm not going." All right. Compile a summary of his health history and a list of potential questions to ask. Okay, because sometimes when people go into the office and they're sitting there and they're like, do you have any questions for me? And no, I can't think of anything right now. So you guys can go over the questions that he may, he may have to ask the doctor. He's like, you know what, because of this, of course, we're going to be asking you when you go into the office. We're going to be asking you medical history, your surgical history, the kind of medications you're taking, the kind of medications you took before, your allergies and all that. So we'll be asking you all that. So make sure you have all that information. If you don't remember, then try to have it maybe on your phone in like a secret app so you can just have that information ready. Because sometimes when you're sitting there, you kind of forget certain like important things. So maybe when you get into your car, you're like, oh my God, I forgot to tell them that I had surgery on this. Or yeah, so all those things important. Have it ready, okay? And research, if you don't have a primary care doctor right now, you can research a primary care doctor. Sometimes most people will ask like the family member, oh, if you live in the same area, which doctor do you go to? Are they good? Or you ask a coworker that you trust. Most people who are in the same like ethnic group or something like that, most of them tend to go to the same doctors and all because they kind of understand your background. It's not anything, you're being racist or you're being prejudiced and all that too. But when I worked my job before, I had like one group or ethnic group, and most of them came there because they have somebody there who also represent that group, but they were open to talk to see anybody. But it's just the fact that they have somebody there that they can relate to, and then that way you just kind of get them. So most people tend to go to people who they know or somebody that they know, and it feels comfortable. And also, when you go to a doctor that your family member also goes to, that means your doctor already knows the DNA, and they can kind of look at both and say, "Wait a second, they're not." You can also tell them, "You know what? I don't want to know anything about my family member. I don't want you telling my family member anything about me." So of course we have to respect that. Okay. So it's good to establish and care with somebody in your neighborhood. The doctors in your neighborhood. You can also call your local hospital and ask for a list of doctors to primary care doctors in the neighborhood. Also, the hospital, your insurance company, you look in the back of the insurance card where it says member services and tell them they can just email you a list of primary care doctors in your area and they can just send that to you. Okay. Let me see here. Let the facts do the talking. Alrighty. So sometimes you may, again, going back, you may want to go there. It's like, oh, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. Sometimes you just keep it to the facts. And you may not always know all the facts and all that too, but just kind of keep it to the facts because when you keep talking about it, it's like, I'm hearing too much. I'm hearing too much. Okay. So you can tell them, okay, the risk of delaying preventative care and screenings, particularly since some conditions may be asymptomatic. Again, like it's sometimes when I say the first sign of a stroke is a stroke, the first sign of a heart attack is a heart attack. But sometimes you may have diabetes and you don't know that. And you're sleeping, you're peeing too much, you're very thirsty all the time, but you may not be able to associate it with all of that. Okay. Sometimes, again, like you climbing up the stairs, you're a little short of breath. Sometimes you have a little bit of chest pain here when you go and rest, but then it comes back. You may not be associating that. So you may need to see that. Going back to prostate cancer, going back to, other things like erectile dysfunction, other things that be going on and all that. You want to get that checked. Okay. So just tell them preventing care, delaying preventative care. All right. The benefits of receiving regular care, particularly in reducing the likelihood of developing an illness and injury. Again, especially athletes. For athletes, they have especially when you're in school and also you're professional, they have their doctors there all the time. So and the doctors and all the whole athletic thing kind of travels with them too. So they have that easily. But most athletes don't usually follow up after they retire. Okay, going back to what I said before, and also in the field that we're into and other places where it requires a lot of energy and all that moving around. Some people are like, oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like going to the doctor. I'm good now. I'm old now. I'm okay. But no, you still have many more years ahead of you, God willing. So you want to make it healthy. Okay. And then you can, like I said, common conditions for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s. We're talking about your colon cancer, checking for prostate cancer, colorectal cancer, checking your knees and all, especially your athletes, active body people. Just talk about the things in screening because those things, if you don't you don't get your colonoscopy or your Cologuard screening for colon cancer or prostate cancer until you start seeing things happening. By the time you get checked, it may be too late. So it's better to start doing your age-specific screening at an early page. So tell them that. Say, I read somewhere, or I was watching Abby Tyler's Healthy Living, and she talked about the fact that you need to get your checking your medical checkups very early, so that way when you get to that point, it can 2 days early. Because especially for things like cancer, if you can get it detected early, you can get treated, and the likelihood of you surviving for a long time is very high when you do that. Okay. So again, if you're just joining me, this is Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page. Our show, weekly show, and I do Abby's Daily Dose. I broadcast. So if you're watching me from Focus in Liberia, I say hi. If you're watching me from YouTube, I say hi also. So let me stop for a little bit here and see any topics, any questions here. Okay, I don't see. Let me see. Okay, do that. Smith Gardner is watching. Thank you for watching. And River Sespero says hi. And let me see what this question. Why do you think most men are afraid of checkups? I recently did my stress test. Still scared to go over the results. Like I said at the beginning, because most men, we live in a society where men think, oh my God, I'm like the provider. I'm the one that's supposed to be the head of the household, and I'm supposed to be strong for my family. And if I do this and something happens, then I won't be there for my family. And just that whole machismo thing where, oh, I'm strong. I don't need to be going to the doctor for the doctor to tell me this is something wrong with you. And this is unwrong. And plus I feel fine. I don't feel anything. I feel fine. I need to go get screening, because the minute I get screening, then something may happen and all. So that goes with all the stereotypical being strong, and, with an illness doesn't show that. So that's why it's important as people in our lives and all that, especially you. Thanks for pointing that out, that you went and got your stress test. Hopefully it was just for screening, but even if for something else, call and get the results. Okay, some places they'll tell you, if we don't call you back, the results are fine, but other places they may not have gotten to your results yet. But I'm sure if it was something really serious, they would have called right away. But make sure you call to get the results. All right. But thanks for watching too, and I appreciate your support. And Jackie Jackson's just here. Thank you very much, cuz. Thank you very much. Okay, so if you're watching us, we're going back to the show. So we'll get to start slow. Alrighty. So when you go, you start telling them, you can have the conversations, sit down, say, I'm really concerned about you. And don't, like, again, I don't want to do that stereotypical thing about women being pesky, or again, like I said, another man could be telling this to his father and all that too. So it's important that, start slow, because some people, it takes a while to get used to that. All right. So make him feel more comfortable by accompanying him to his doctor's appointment. He may not want you to go, because sometimes there's something he may be talking to his doctor that he doesn't want you to hear. So be respectful of that. Say, do you want me to come with you? I can sit in the lobby, or I can come in with you in the room. Do you want to, whichever way is okay for you. If you think you're going to forget something, I can come in there and also go over that. Okay. Lead by example. Again, if you have the same doctors or something like that, schedule your appointment the same day too. I used to take care of a lot of couples that came in at the same time, and they just got knocked out, 1, 2, and it was over with, and they were fine. Some of them sat in the waiting room until their turn, and both of them came in at the same time. All right. Increase the exposure comfort level by having him take the kids to their appointments too. Some of the things are a little stereotypical too, because most mothers are the ones that take their kids to their appointment. So it's important that, go with him, let him go with the kids, and also that way they talk more, and the kids can see that, oh yeah, okay, dad's taking us, dad's going to be able to take himself also, or dad's care about our health and his health too. All right. And you can also get support from other family members too. Like, say you're talking to your mom, you're talking to your dad, and they don't want to hear it, or they're not convincing enough. You're not convincing enough. You can get help from a family member that has a little bit more influence, or they're closer to that family member, and say, can you please help me talk to dad? Can you please help me talk to your brother? Can you please help me talk to this person, because I'm trying my best and they're not, they don't want to do that. All right. So, so just get another family member to kind of help on, and then make it easy and convenient. Alrighty. So how can you do that? Make the appointment. Just say, okay, what time of day do you want to go? Which day would be best for you, and what time of day do you want to go? Again, like I said, you can go to. Do you want to go to female doctor? Do you want to go to male doctor? Again, it's not like saying, yes, I don't want, anything against this particular sex, the doctor and all that too. Some people just feel comfortable going there, but then again, like I said, when I talked about prostate exam, you may say, I don't want, the digital exam where the doctor will have to put the finger inside of your rectum. You may say, I don't want a man doing that to me. I don't want a woman doing that to me. I don't want a a female nurse, female doctor doing that to me. I don't want a young male doctor doing that to me. So you have to, like, you can always say, and sometimes you don't have to have those tests at your primary care doctor. They can always refer you to a urologist, or certain things they can always refer you to another doctor, and you can ask that practice, call and say, do you have this person there, because I feel more comfortable. This is nothing to do with like being against certain things and all that. I used to, when I did my rotation for my GYN. Also, there were people there. There were some people used to come in and say, I don't want a male GYN doing that to me." So it was always like, okay, I was there with somebody else and getting that. So as long as you feel comfortable, the most important thing is you go to see the doctor. Okay, so whichever way that's going to make it easy for you, go ahead and do that. So whichever would make it easy for him, try as much as possible to do that. Sometimes it's not possible to have those people in your driving area, and you may have to go a little further, or your insurance company may not cover somebody that far away. So be a little flexible, okay? And tell them to be a little flexible. So say, I can check every box that I can check every box, and honey. So let's be flexible here. All right. And you can also say, make it close to his job. Let's say if he's still working, make it close to his job. Let's say when you come from work that day, just pass to your doctor's office. And sometimes get a doctor's office that also open maybe 6 days a week. So they may, if they work 9 to 5 and they can't go during that time, they can go in the weekend. Or some other doctors, if you do it on the weekends, though, they may not do physical on the weekend. They may do it during the weekday. So just say, I'm letting you know way ahead of time. Go in early, get your test done, and you can go to work, okay? Or if they work 7 to 3, 3 to 11, or whatever time they work, okay? So basically, the last one is, there will be strategies to avoid, all right? Because you've done all this, you say, I love you very much. Give me 1 second here. I love you very much, and I'm doing everything, to help you. Say parenting your dad. Don't make it seem like he's incompetent, especially like talking to your dad, or your husband, or you're the male in your life. All right. Don't make it seem like, and don't feel like you're lecturing him then, because 1 second here, because they be like, oh my God, you're telling me all this stuff and all, and I understand, and blah blah blah. You're making it a little bit too much now. I'm tired of that. All right. Don't nag them about their health. I know that I'm eating too. I know if I'm smoking, to say that, okay, we can also work on your smoking. We can work on the alcohol and all that, but it's important. Okay. And don't engage in a heated conversation, especially when they start getting angry, because some people know, they know there's something going wrong. They know whatever is doing, and that they've been putting things off for a while. They know there's going on. Don't sit there and argue about it. Just say, you know what, I've already told you. Okay, I'm concerned about you, and I know, especially if somebody who's like your husband and who's like a breadwinner in the house and all, and you say, I'm looking at this, and I know it's going to affect our finances. I mean, sometimes you just got to be blunt. It's not saying all you're thinking about is the money. No, but what very well, there's like two incomes, and one income, when somebody gets sick, that's the whole thing about insurance, the whole thing about poverty, the whole thing about all of this. Sometimes people saying, oh yeah, this and that. Sometimes you just need one major illness to literally change your whole trajectory and your whole lifestyle and all. Okay, so it's important you tell them, say, if we can get this early, please. But when they start getting all angry, and just pull back, all right? Don't get yourself all worked up over it. All right. And don't say, I told you so, especially when they find out later on that, oh yeah, now you have to take this medication, or now you have to have this surgery, or now you have to do more screening. Don't say, I told you so. Just say, you know, I'm just happy that we came in the time that we came. Okay. So, and then the thing, and then at the end of the day, this is their decision. Is their decision. You can sit there and tell them this is how it's going to affect everybody and all that. And you, again, like I said, let the facts do the talking, be supportive, try to make it easy and convenient and all. But at the end of the day, it's their decision. And if they don't want to get the help that they need, if you're a praying person, pray. Get other people to talk with them and all, and just keep your fingers crossed and hope that nothing bad happens to them. All righty. So let me just see if there's any more questions. Let's see here. I think you said the ratio of women who do checkup is higher than men. River says, bro, there are more women in the hospitals than men. Who explains that? Well, more women in the hospital because chances are more than likely that they were diagnosed with something, that they went to the hospital and they went to the doctor's office and got diagnosed. But one thing, there's more women than men, but they got diagnosed. That's not saying that, oh yeah, because women are in the hospital, that means they're not healthy, or men. And there are a lot of unhealthy men running around. who would not get the help that they need. So who knows? That could be equal, and depends on what hospital you're in. Also, there's some men who I have had men on my, when I in primary care, and I say, "I'm not. You got to go directly to the hospital." And they say, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go later." Oh yeah, yeah. I had some who went to the hospital, and thank God they went to the hospital. I have been in health fairs before where I'm like, "Oh, your blood pressure is really high. You need to go to the hospital." And they were like, "Oh, you know what? I've been fine. I'll just see my doctor another time. I'll just see my." So doesn't mean that because women are in more women in the hospital. I don't know where you're getting your stats from, but there may be some truth to it, but mainly because the fact that women are getting checkup, and we may have other medical issues too that men don't have. So sometimes it could be something that's chronic also. All right. But the most important thing is get your checkup, get your annual checkup. Most of the annual checkups are kind of free. The insurance company are free. Depending on if they find anything else, they might tell you to come back, and that would be the one that you have to pay for. But it's free. You can go there, you do your physical examination. Like I said, get everything done. They'll do your blood work, and if there's anything you see that's abnormal, they'll call you and check it up and tell you you need to follow up, or they might just call you and say everything's fine. We'll see you. We'll see you next. We'll see you next year. And don't forget, you also have to go see your eye doctor already. And that's every year, especially if you have high blood pressure, diabetes. But even if you don't, it's important to get your checkup done, because some people have like headaches, or they have difficulty seeing, and they can't correlate that with what's going on with the eyes. All right. And also your dentist too. Go see your dentist, all right, get your teeth and everything fixed, because also your dental health is connected to your heart health as well. So go ahead and get that. See the podiatrist, and also, don't forget, if you have to see your therapist and all, just get the whole thing done. Just get your whole, like you go to get your car done, get it detailed, get your whole body done every year, okay? And as often as your doctor requires you to do that. All right. I know sometimes it can be scary because you don't want to know what's going on, but it's important that you do get that. Let me just see here for a second. I don't see any more questions. So okay, so that's pretty much it. So for you, those of you who are joining me now, I say thank you very much. For those of you who will be watching later, I say thank you. Also, please share the show. Please share the show. And I do Abby's Daily Dose during the week too. So if you're not a member, Abby's Tyler Healthy Living page, please go on Facebook and look for this banner over here and click that. And it's a public page, so I don't have to give you permission to join, but you can just join and watch that. And other shows that have been deleted, it's not we haven't been deleted. Facebook kind of deleting them, so it's on my Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page on YouTube, the same name. Okay, so you can see all those videos that you've missed. All right, if you want to watch again, it's on there, and you can also go there and share it to your regular page too. Okay, so thank you all for watching, and I really appreciate your love and support. You all have a beautiful night. Bye bye now.